तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः।
Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kavivireditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadatatam Bhuigrunanti Ye Bhuridajana. We are studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna and we are in the conversations of 28th July 1885, and the context is that he has gone to Nanda Basu's house to see pictures of gods and goddesses, and he has seen them. And now we come to the point, English page 817, Bengali page 877. Last paragraph, what we addressed yesterday. That in the last picture, Thakur is showing to Keshav the harmony of religions. So, Prasanna's father smiling, you too are in that picture. Master smiling. Yes, it contains everything. This is the ideal of the modern times. As he spoke, Sri Ramakrishna manifested great spiritual fervor. He was in an ecstatic mood, talking to the Divine Mother. A few minutes later, he said like a drunkard, I am not unconscious. Looking at the house, oh, he said, it is a huge mansion. But what does it consist of? Bricks, timber, and clay. So his evaluation of things in the world is like this. It may be big, but what it is? Only material things. So this remark, he is not afraid. He is in a divine mood also. That is talking to the owners of that house. And yet he says big mansion. But what it is? Timber, bricks, clay. A little later he said, I am very happy to see these pictures of gods and goddesses. He added, it is not good to keep pictures of terrible aspects of the Divine Mother. If one does, one should worship them. He had told while he saw the pictures also, and at the conclusion of everything, he is telling this, that he was happy to see all the pictures, but the terrible forms of Divine Mother, if you keep the pictures, you should worship them. Pashupati, that brother of Nanda, was smiling. Well, things will go on so long as she keeps them going. Now it is not very clear whether they were worshipping or not. Thakur said you have to worship them. Otherwise something evil will fall. And that Pashupati says it is her will. If she keeps, all right, it will go on. Now he has mentioned her will. That is the one point Thakur catches here. Master, that is true. That is true. Her will is supreme. But one should think of God. It is not good to forget Him. Understood the undertone? But you are not thinking of God. The world moves according to her will is all right. She will keep it as much as she likes is all right. But you must put your mind in God. You must think of her. You must contemplate her. Otherwise, only talking about her will not do. Her will is supreme, is true. But, what is the but? You must keep your mind in her. That is more important. It is no good to forget her. So, Thakur's everything is so clear. Big house, only clay, timber, bricks. And everything goes up by her will, all right. But you have to keep your mind in God. Forgetting God is not good. Nanda. But how little we think of God. So the owner is clear about it and he says we think of God very little. Master, one thinks of God through His grace. So for that also you have to seek her grace. This is very important point. Huh? We think that if we do something sadhana, God will come very near us. But that something of sadhana is we are doing also by the will of God. If this we understand, our sadhana will succeed. We are not doing anything without His will. So, normal faith is that if you do little sadhana, then God's grace will come. But that little sadhana also comes because of God's grace. Is a very important point in spiritual life. I am a sadhak. No one should be egotistic about it. You are sadhak by His grace. You are struggler by His grace. You are succeeding by His grace. You come out fully successful by His grace. That is the spirit of sadhana. You have to put all your self-effort. Thakur said you must think of God. Not thinking is not good. So you have to put all your effort. Side by side, you have to be aware, you have to think, you have to be conscious of that it is through God's will that you are able to do sadhana. These are the two sides of sadhana. One thinks of God through His grace, Nanda. But how can we obtain God's grace? So his questioning is a little more sincere. Has he really the power to bestow grace? So that is not a statement of faith. That means we have to do everything by our sadhana. Does God have power to bestow His grace? That is the question. Master smiling. I see. You think as the intellectuals do. Oh, immediate analysis. One reaps the results of one's action. That is the intellectual shall tell you. Give up these ideas. Oh, straight. Give up these ideas. The effect of karma wears away if one takes refuge in God. Yeah, wonderful. In Gita, in the 18th chapter, Bhagavan says, Anishtam Ishtam Mishram Cha Trivida Bhavati Trivida Karmana Phalam Bhavati Atyaginam Pretya natu sannyasinam kvachit. As per your action, good, bad or mixed, you will get the fruits. Who will get the fruits? Who? Atyaginam. We know in 18th chapter, Tyagi means Karma Yogi. Sannyasi means Jnananishta. Atyagi means not even a Karma Yogi. So if he is not even a Karma Yogi, he has to bear fruits of his actions, good, bad, mixed. Sannyasinam kvachit na vidyati. If the I am the doer consciousness is gone, if you are fully aware that God does everything, then no karma phala for you. But this has kept a gap. What about the tyagis? Atyagi, full fruit. Sannyasi, no fruit. What about the tyagis? That Thakur is telling. The more you can be aware that I am not the doer, is the doer, the less will be your fruit. And fully, if you realize, then the fruits will be washed up. Because fruits stick to the karmi. And if you are aware that you are not the karmi, no fruits. So, as the intellectual things means karma, karma pal, mimamsakas, or that is the normal vision. But they do not know that if the doer I is gone, no question of any fruit. That is why the sannyasi is free. Sannyasi has moksha or sannyasi is free. He is not bound by any action of his, no prarabdha also for him. All the fruits are washed out because he has given up his ego of doership. If one takes refuge in God, I prayed to the Divine Mother with flowers in my hand. Here, Mother, take thy sin, take thy virtue. I don't want either of them. I, sinner, I, virtuous. I don't want any of them, means I do not want my I. Give me only real bhakti. Real bhakti is no I, only love of God. Here, Mother, take thy good, take thy bad. I don't want any of thy good or bad. Give me only real bhakti. So in good or bad, I is attached. Here, Mother, take thy dharma, take thy, here, take thy adharma. I don't want any of thy dharma, punya, getting to sarga. I don't want, does not mean I want adharma. So I don't want either of them. I don't want the I who is doing the dharma. I don't want any of thy dharma or adharma. Give me only real bhakti. Here, Mother, take thy knowledge. Here, take thy ignorance. I know God is the knowledge. And that is I. I don't want that. Does not mean I want ignorance. So neither knowledge nor ignorance, no I attached to the knowership. Give me only real bhakti. Here, Mother, take thy knowledge, take thy ignorance. I don't want any of thy knowledge or ignorance. Give me only real bhakti. Here, Mother, take thy purity. Here, take thy impurity. Give me only real bhakti. So, on the way to progress, purity is the first. But even there, I am pure will spoil the whole thing. And that does not mean that I want to be impure. So take this purity and impurity, I don't count anything of this. I want to go beyond. I want pure bhakti. This is Thakur's constant advice to every sadhaka by telling his own example. Nanda, can God violate law? The same intellectual again. Mathura will argue with Thakur. In Thakur's clear vision, law only means will of God. And breaking the law means special will of God. You know that Mathur Babu said white flowers cannot come to a red flowering plant, and next day Thakur showed him the branch. Master, what do you mean? He is the Lord of all. He can do everything. He who has made the law can also change it. So law is not something in nature automatic. God has made the law, and God can change it. But you may very well talk that way. Perhaps you want to enjoy the word straight away. Oh, Thakur becomes too blunt at times. And that is why you talk that way. There is a view that a man's inner spirit is not awakened unless he is through with enjoyment. Bhoganta, unless you are through with enjoyments, that inner spirit. So Thakur is directly telling them, he has told, put the mind in God. But what is there to enjoy? The pleasure of woman and gold. So by Viveka, you have to give it up. This moment they exist, and the next moment they disappear. It is all momentary. And what is there in woman and gold? It is like the hawk plum, all stone and skin. If one eats it, one suffers from colic. Amda it is called. So he wants to wake them up by telling, you want enjoyment, so you are feeling like that. But what is enjoyment? Only amla. That means the more you enjoy, the more you are spoiling your whatever you have. And there is no enjoyment. Appears as enjoyment, there is no enjoyment. Thakur is very kind in this respect from the knowledge point of view. Nanda remained silent a few minutes. So this is sinking in him. Then he said, oh yes, people no doubt talk that way. People talk that way, those who believe in God. But is God partial? So that is another question. If he shows grace, then he is partial. If he is impartial, he cannot show grace. And the world itself is made by him. He has made people as he has liked. If things happen through God's grace, then I must say God is partial. Master. But God himself has become everything. That is the final thing. Partial to whom? God is everything. So, if he raise somebody, if he does not raise somebody, he himself is all that. So, no question of partiality. That is the best answer. Because that is truth. But God himself has become everything, the universe and its living being. You will realize it when you have perfect knowledge. God himself has become the 24 cosmic principles, the mind, intellect, body, and so forth. Is there anyone but himself to whom he can show partiality? So the apparent partiality is only an appearance. God himself being everything, it is his play. This one has to realize, this one has to feel. Nanda, why has you assumed all these different forms? Why are some wise and some ignorant? So again, that intellectual question, Master, it is his sweet will, that's all. He himself has become all, so he has assumed the role of an idiot. That is the play going on. Atur, Girish Babu's brother, Kedar Babu puts it nicely. He has his own way. Once a man asked him, why has God created the world? He replied, I was not present at the conference where God made the plans of his creation. You understand this point? There is no why can approach God. He is self-willed. He can appear everything. And our why means there is something other than God. God can be compelled to do something. All these are assumptions because we are thirsting upon God what we are. So this question itself is wrong. Kedar Babu answers in a different way that he had a meeting when he decided this, he did not call me. So that means we cannot know God's Leela. That is the meaning. Master, oh, it is his sweet will. So saying, the master sang. So enough of discussion. Now through a song, he wants to put that impression in everybody's heart. सकली तुम्हारी इच्छा मई तारा तुम्ही तुम्हार कर्म तुम्ही करो मा लोके बोले करी आम्ही पंखे बद्ध करो करी पंगुरे लंगाओ गिरी खरे दाव मा ब्रह्मपद कार्य करो अधोगामी आम्ही यंत्र तुम्ही यंत्री आम्ही घर तुम्ही घराणी आम्ही रथ तुम्ही रथी जमून चलाव तेमनी चली. Beautiful song. O mother, all is done after thy own sweet will. Thou art in truth self-willed, Redeemer of mankind. Thou workest thine own work, men only call it theirs. Thou it is that holdest the elephant in the mire. Thou that helpest the lame man scale the loftiest hill. On some thou bestow the bliss of Brahmadhun, and yet others thou dost hurl into this world below. Thou art the moving force, and I the mere machine. The house am I, and thou the spirit dwelling there, and the chariot, and thou the charioteer. I move alone. I move alone as thou, O mother, movest me. He continued, the Divine Mother is full of bliss. Creation, preservation, and destruction are the waves of her sportive pleasure. Innumerable are the living beings. Only one or two among them obtain liberation, and that makes her happy. So, world also is hers, and if people become free, that also makes her happy. He sings, out of 100,000 kinds, at best but one or two break free, and thou dost laugh and clap thy hands, O mother, watching them. Some are being entangled in the world, and some are being liberated from it. How many are the boats of mind that float on the ocean of this world? How many are those that sink? Hmm. So everything is moving by God's will. Nanda, it may be her sweet will, but it is death to us. Master, but who you are? That is the main point. He has forgotten. That is nothing but God appearing as him. Where is he? So, this is the answer. Thakur has given clear answer to this every point. God is playing. We are hurt. You are a part of God's play. Where is the question of you being hurt? Because of your ego, you feel hurt. Because you think you are the doer, so you feel hurt. Who are you? But who are you? It is the Divine Mother who has become all this. It is only as long as you do not know her that you say, I. Ignorance is the root of everything. All will surely realize God. All will be liberated. It may be that some get their meal in the morning, some at noon, and some in the evening, but none will go without food. All, without any exception, will certainly know their real self. That is another important point. We are going down. There will be a point when you will go up. So everybody will be liberated. If you know this, you will walk on that road and will get quickly liberated. If you are going down, then it will take a longer time. So, no partiality also there. Pashupati, true sir, it seems that it is God alone who has become everything. Master, try to find out what this I is. Is this I the bones or flesh or blood or intestines? Seeking the I, you discover thou. You understand? Body is not you. Indriya is not you. Mind not you. What are you? Chetan, God Himself. Searching for I, you are finally getting God. If you do not stop your search. This lesson is wonderful. Full side is being shown. Try to find out what this I is. Is this I the bones or flesh or blood or intestine? Seeking the I, you discover thou. In other words, nothing exists inside you but the power of God. There is no I, but only He. To Pashupati, you have so much wealth, but you have no egotism. It is not possible to rid oneself altogether of the ego so long as it is there. Let the rascal remain as the servant of God. All laugh because that word rascal. The ego that makes a man feel he is a devotee of God or a son of God or a servant of God is good. Because you are connected your ego with God, not with the body or mind. But the ego that makes a man attached to woman and gold is the unripe ego. That ego is to be renounced. The head of the household and the others were very much pleased to hear this interpretation of the ego. Master to Pashupati, there are two signs of knowledge. First, absence of pride, and second, a peaceful nature. You have both. Therefore, you must have received the grace of God. That means you are keeping well, you are worshipping, and you are so much images. All this is grace of God only. Too much wealth makes one forget God. That is the very nature of wealth. Jadu Malik has become very rich. Nowadays, he doesn't talk of God. Formerly, he used to enjoy spiritual talk a great deal. Woman and Thakur is an example of everything. Woman and gold is a kind of wine. If a man drinks too much wine, he does not show his father and uncle the respect that is due to them. Very often, he abuses them. A drunkard cannot distinguish between his superior and his inferior. Nanda, that is true, sir. Pashupati, sir, what do you think of theosophy and spiritualism? Are these true? What do you think of the solar plane, the lunar plane, and the stellar plane? You understand? Spirituality is one thing and spiritualism is one thing. Spirituality is what we want. Gradual transcendence of physical, mental, causal, and realizing God. Spiritualism is only dwelling in the subtle plane. Spirit, Atman, for them it is a substance. And so miracle mongering is the result, planchets, and so many nonsense they do. And that is what the main theme of theosophy. Master, my dear sir, I don't know about those things. Why bother about them as so much? You have come to the orchard to eat mangoes. Enjoy them. What is the use of your calculating how many mango trees there are, how many millions of branches, how many billions of leaves? I have come to the orchard to eat mangoes. Let me enjoy them. Here, enjoyment simply means being devoted to God and not wasting your mind in knowing unnecessary things. Once a man's inner spirit is awakened, once he succeeds in knowing God, he doesn't feel the desire even to know about all this rubbish. How incoherently a delirious person talks. I shall eat 5 seers of rice. I shall drink a whole tank of water. Will you? Says the physician. All right, you will have them. Saying this, the physician goes on with his smoke. But he pays attention to what the patient says when the patient is no longer delirious. Symptoms and something out of delirium are different, and the doctor recognizes them. So all our talk is like the drunkard person. Master, Pashupati, Pashupati, will our delirium last forever? Master, why should you think so? Fix your mind on God and spiritual consciousness will be awakened in you. Again and again, Thakur is telling that. Pashupati smiling. Our union with God is only momentary. It doesn't last any longer than a pipe full of tobacco. Allah, Master. What if that is so? Oh. Union with God, even for one moment, surely gives a man liberation. Real union, if it is. Ahilya said to Rama, "Oh Rama, it doesn't matter if I am born as a pig or any other being. Only bless me that my mind may dwell on thy lotus feet and be filled with real devotion to thee." Ahilya story we know. Narada said to Rama, "Oh Rama, I want from thee no other favor. Please give me real love for thee and please bless me that I may not come under the spell of thy world bewitching Maya. When a man sincerely prays to God, he is able to fix his mind on God. That is the main quality of prayer. And develop real love for his lotus feet. Through prayer is the progress. Give up all such notions as, shall we be cured of our delirium? What will happen to us? We are sinners. To Nanda, one must have this kind of faith. What? Once I uttered the name of Rama, can I be a sinner anymore? Nanda, is there no afterlife? What about punishment for our sins? So every question they are thrashing out. Master, why not enjoy your mangoes? What need have you to calculate about the afterlife and what happens there and things like that? Eat your mangoes. You need mangoes. You need devotion to God. So even this sarga or result of our work we should not think of. Nanda. But where is the mango tree? Where do I get mangoes? Master. Tree. God is the eternal and infinite Brahman. Eternal and infinite Brahman. He does exist. There is no doubt about it. He is eternal. But you must remember this, that he is the Kalpataru. You will get what you wish from him. So, come let us go for a walk. O mind, to Kali, the wish-fulfilling tree, and there beneath it gather the four fruits of life. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. You must go to the Kalpataru and pray. Only then will you obtain the fruits. Only then will the fruits fall from the tree. Only then will you be able to gather them. There are four fruits, Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. The Jnanis seek the fruit of liberation and the Bhakta, love of God. Love without any motive behind it. They seek neither Dharma nor Artha nor Kama. So the real Purushartha is Moksha. You ask about the afterlife. According to the Gita, you will become in the next life what you think of in the hour of death. First he said, you will not think of it. Think of God. Now if the curiosity remains, here is Gita. King Bharata was very much grieved over his pet deer. He died repeating the word deer, therefore he was reborn as a deer. That is why day and night a man should practice worship, japa, meditation and other spiritual exercises day and night. Only then, by virtue of practice, will he be able to think of God in the hour of death. If one dies thus thinking of God, one will acquire God's nature. That story comes to my mind. I have told it. There was a young Swami from Kerala, Nityasthananda was his name. In a summer, he had come to Nagpur for 3 days. He was a little shy of nature, so he did not have much talks with our Guruji, though he wanted. So on the day of his going, he told one of our Swami, and he told our Swamiji, and they were talking on the veranda above the old temple, in front of the old temple. And what happened, nobody knows. He fell headlong and hit the step below the temple, and the head broke. Immediately, doctor was phoned. He came within 5 minutes and said, take him immediately to the hospital. He was taken. Within 20 minutes, everything was arranged, but he was unconscious. After 3 to 4 days, A little consciousness was arising and he was muttering something. The nurses being from Kerala, some people asked them, you put your ears to his lips and find out what he is talking. They heard some word go and they said he wants coffee. After another day, he got little more conscious. He was feeling pain too much and he started shouting his Ishta mantra. It had the root, including ka. And then it became a very different scene. When he, because of that effort of shouting, he again became less conscious, again the muttering. When he goes to get more conscious, shouting, and that became the, whatever you may call, Kailas, that hospital ward. So, what I want to point out, how deep it had gone. He was a young man of 35, and how many days he might have practiced. But constant practice is what Thakur is describing. Keshav sent to ask me about the afterlife. I said to him also, what need have you of all these calculations? Then I said, as long as a man does not realize God, he will return to the world. Okay. Afterlife is like this. The potter puts his clay jars and finds out he puts his clay jars and lids out to the sun to bake. If cattle trample them underfoot, he throws away the baked ones, but he collects the soft ones, mixes them with more clay, puts them on the wheel, and makes new vessels from them. So, unbaked, new vessels. Baked, gone. The masters of the house had not yet shown any sign of serving Sri Ramakrishna with refreshments. Sri Ramakrishna himself said to Nanda, you see, you should offer me something to eat. That is why the other day I said to Jadu's mother, look here, give me something to eat. Otherwise, it brings harm to the householder. What points of spirituality you want? Everything is there, everything. Nanda Bose ordered some sweets. Sri Ramakrishna began to eat them. Nanda and the others were watching the master and his actions. After eating the sweets, Sri Ramakrishna wanted to wash his hands. The plate on which the sweets were served had been placed on the sheet covering the carpet. So the master could not wash his hands in the plate. A servant brought a brass bowl for him to use, but Sri Ramakrishna would not use it. Since only Rajasic people use such things, he asked the servant to take it away. The master of the house said to him, please wash your hands. Absent-mindedly, Sri Ramakrishna said, what? Shall I wash my hands? The master walked to the south veranda. He asked him to pour water over his hands. M poured water from a jug. The master dried his hands with his cloth and returned to the room. Then he was offered bitter leaf on a tray. But the other guest had already taken some from the same tray. The master did not accept it. Nanda to the master, may I say something? Master, smiling, what? Nanda, why didn't you eat any bitter leaf? Everything else you did was proper. This alone seems to be otherwise. Master, before I eat everything, I offer it to God. It is a notion of mine, Nanda. But the bitter leaf would have gone to God all the same, Master. There is the path of Jnana and the path of also Bhakti. And that is only Vedanta. It will have gone to God if anybody has eaten. According to the Jnani, everything can be eaten by applying the knowledge of Brahman. But the follower of Bhakti keeps a little distinction, Nanda. But I still maintain that you did not act rightly. Master smiling. It is just a notion of mine. What you say is also right. That too is supported by the scriptures. But I do not do. Sri Ramakrishna was warning Nanda of flatterers. Master, beware of flatterers. They are after their own selfish purpose. To Prasanna's father. Do you live in this house? Prasanna's father. No, sir. I am a neighbor. Won't you have a smoke? Master, very humbly. No, please. Enjoy yourself. I don't feel like smoking now. Nanda's house was like a palace. Sri Ramakrishna said to him, hasn't such a big house. I told him so the other day, Nanda. He has built a new house at Jorasanko. Sri Ramakrishna was encouraging Nanda. Master to Nanda, though you are a householder, still you have kept your mind on God. Is that a small thing? The man who has renounced the world will pray to him as a matter of course. Is there any credit in that? But blessed indeed is he who, while leading householder's life, prays to God. That is, Master Maharaj said, encouraging Nanda. He is like a man who finds no object after removing a stone weighing 20 mounds. Who finds an object after removing a stone weighing 20 mounds. So, after carrying on the responsibility of the house, he finds time to think of God. One should pray to God, establishing with Him an appropriate relationship. Hanuman's love for God was mixed with knowledge, but Narada's love of God was pure and unadulterated. So, different types of love. Rama asked Hanuman, what attitude do you cherish towards me when you worship me? Hanuman answered, sometimes I see that you are the whole and I am a part. Sometimes I see you are the master and I am your servant. But Rama, when I have the knowledge of reality, then I find that you and I are same. I am you. Rama said to Narada, ask a favor of me. Narada said, O Rama, give me the boon that I may have genuine love for thee, thy lotus feet, and that I may not come under the spell of thy world bewitching Maya. Sri Ramakrishna was about to take his leave, master, to Nanda. According to the Gita, a man who is honored and respected by many people possesses a special power of God. You have divine power, Nanda. All men have the same power. Again, the same thing. Master, sharply. You all say the same thing. Can all men ever possess power to the same degree? God no doubt dwells in all, being as the all-pervading spirit. But the manifestation of his power are different in different beings. Vidyasagar too said the same thing. He said, as God given more power, some more power and some less. Thereupon I said to him, if there are not if there are not different manifestations of his power, then why have we come to see you? Have you grown two horns on your feet? Sri Ramakrishna rose. The devotees followed him. Pashupati accompanied him to the door. So he had also promised those two lady devotees, that I would come to you. The master arrived at the house of the Brahmin lady who was grief-stricken on account of her daughter's death. It was an old brick house, better. Entering the house, the master passed the cowshed on his left. He and the devotees went to the room where they took seats. People were standing there in rows. Others were seated. They were all eager to get a glimpse of Sri Ramakrishna. The Brahmani had a sister. Better we get it tomorrow, huh? ॐ तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जना ॐ शान्ति 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 हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्रीरामकृष्णार्पणमस्तु.